This is TWiT.
The FCC has said again and again that the 5G is no more hazardous than regular cell phone reception, which is not hazardous. Although the World Health Organization says that radio frequency emissions are as dangerous as other possibly carcinogenic substances as coffee and pickles. So
I don't see anyone giving up their coffees.
or pickles.
Well, pickles are just the fruit of the devil, but yes.
Hey, that's the first wrong thing.
Dill
you said
pickles
all day.
are awesome.
Oh no!
I like bread and butter pickles.
It's like napalming your
sweet for me.
taste
Too sweet
buds.
for me.
Oh, horrible
I can't
things.
eat them anymore. They're not keto,
Really?
but I can eat all the dill pickles
that's
I
right.
want. Yeah,
They're all
there's
carb.
sugar in them.
Is that why you look so much smaller than you used to? Keto?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look tremendous, by the way.
Thank you. So do you.
I mean, no crap aside, you actually look good.
You lost a lot of weight too. How much did you lose?
I walked into rehab at like 185. I was 160.
So you lost it from not drinking?
And I treated a lot of fat from muscle as I worked out more. I'm not in good shape yet, but I'm getting there.
You look pretty muscly.
I mean,
looks
now
pretty
everyone's just
good.
looking at me. Which is
I mean,
weird.
I wasn't going to say it, but now that Leo said it,
Pretty good.
All I wanted to say was Leo looks good.
Thank you.
We can leave it there.
Yeah, I've lost about 20 pounds and
Wow.
more to go. But more importantly for me, I had type 2 diabetes, and I wanted to treat that, high blood pressure and and high cholesterol. All three indicators are back down, not just to normal, but to low normal.
Excellent.
My doctor was shocked. He said, "Oh, this isn't going to work," and he was blown away. So it's been
Excellent.
very, very good for me.
And this is pure keto?
I'm not recommending it. Yeah, just don't
Okay.
eat carbs. They're not good for you anyway. You don't
Yeah,
need
but
it.
ice cream though, it's a morale improver.
Ice cream is the single thing. You know what?
Ooh, giving it.
That's how Robert De Niro got fat for Raging Bull. He ate ice cream. In fact, an actor wants to get fat. What
See,
they do is they start eating ice cream.
I don't eat ice cream. I only eat gelato.
Yeah.
Which they tell me, the locals tell me, no, this isn't ice cream, it's gelato. I'm like, oh, okay.
Meanwhile, cities and towns throughout Northern California issuing ordinances excluding 5G cell sites from residential areas, citing non-existent health concerns. Portland, Oregon, Whitefish, Montana, lobbying for restrictions. Legislators in 4 states, including New Hampshire, proposing bills mandating further study of health effects before we do this big 5G rollout. Now, it's true, 5G will require 4 times the number of cells. It's millimeter wave,
Correct.
Yeah.
Much higher frequency, much less penetration.
Yeah.
not ionizing energy.
That's the big thing. None of this is ionizing. Everyone's concerned about radiation, but you get radiation off of everything.
You've got
The question
cosmic rays hitting you from the sun
Exactly.
constantly.
Is it ionizing radiation? That's the radiation you need to be concerned about, and cell towers don't do that. They don't emit ionizing radiation.
I forget what that means. Does anyone know?
Ionizing radiation means that it's so energetic that it has the ability to make other substances, other atoms
To
radioactive.
damage your cells,
right,
essentially.
Okay.
And
that
not
was-
to mention the fact that the power from these antennas diminishes by the inverse of the square.
Yes, exactly. So,
So-
you've got to pack a lot more of them in, and I think that's what's got a lot of people worried. Plus, there's the general. I mean, we still get people who claiming that Wi-Fi signals drive them insane.
Yeah.
And despite the fact there's never been peer-reviewed double-blind testing to show it. And in fact, you can put one of these people in a room and turn the Wi-Fi on and off, and they won't notice the difference.
The journal quotes a member of the Santa Rosa Chamber of Commerce, again, just up the road a piece. His name is, I'll give him credit, Jack Tibbetts. He said, for Mr. Tibbetts, it didn't matter whether those new antennas were actually dangerous. He was more concerned some were attached to utility poles a mere 20 feet from people's bedroom windows. Residents complained Verizon had put them up without notifying them. They didn't want these ungainly chunks of public infrastructure anywhere near them. However,
They still quite like having mobile phones, however.
yeah.
That's-
Furthermore, Verizon doesn't have to ask. And there apparently is no legal power that can stop them. So you would need to create a new law. The other thing cities don't like is they don't have the leeway they used to have to set pricing for cell sites. Federal government has
Yeah,
set prices
that
on
has
these.
really, really annoyed a lot, and particularly places like San Francisco, where it's very, they could charge a lot for these for these stations, and the FCC just said no, just flat fee, everyone, even if you're losing money on it, which is ridiculous.
Is that a
but-
new thing under Ajit?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's one of his little babies.
Well, and again, that favors the people who are putting up these cell towers.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there is a certain societal benefit to having 5G, right? I mean, yeah, they're going to make money on it, but isn't it good Isn't it good for everybody if 5G is ubiquitous or no?
Well, there's a very interesting talk that went on at DEF CON where someone was saying basically you're not going to see a significant increase in speed from 5G. What you are going to get is all the back-end software which is sending signaling back. That's going to be using the bulk of the stuff. And you're just going to get moderately faster speeds if you're really close to a cell tower.
It would be as if you got yourself a 10 gig fiber connection, but you were only watching videos that required like a dial-up connection. It's not really going to help the individual end user. It's going to help in the aggregate. As you're looking at the backhauls, connecting towers to other towers to other towers, that's where 5G really comes into play because you can use that bandwidth.
So this builds out a lot of future capacity, even if I will not get much higher resolution or speed on my individual phone.
Correct.
So it's still very important to the infrastructure element of the national broadband, mobile broadband system.
5G is great for point-to-point. Like if I have 2 fixed points, 5G would be fantastic because I can get a really solid wireless link between the 2 places. But to my phone, am I going to notice the difference between a 3G service and a 5G service? Probably not.
You got pretty fast service now.
Exactly.
30, 40 megabits. I mean, most of what you do on a phone, you don't need faster than that, right?
No.
So even if you're getting 100 megabits, you're not going to notice a big difference. This is the fabulous Randall Munroe's XKCD chart about ionizing radiation. Sleeping. So they measure ionizing radiation in sieverts. Sleeping next to someone, 0.05 sieverts. Eating a banana, 0.1 sieverts.
Potassium.
Living within 50 miles of a coal plant, 0.3 sieverts a year. Dental x-ray, 5. Using a cell phone, 0. A cell phone's transmitter does not produce ionizing radiation unless it's a banana phone. In the normal yearly background dose from all sources, about 4 microsieverts, which is that's a larger than the nanosieverts. So you're getting that's that green at the bottom here. You're getting quite a bit of dosage just walking around.
There's a corollary to that though that explains why we get so afraid when people talk about radiation. Think to Chernobyl. There are people there who absorbed massive doses, like should have been dead, and they lived for 30 years.
Yeah.
And there are people who got marginal fatal doses and they were dead within a week. So it's not just the amount of ionizing radiation that hits you, it's where does it hit you? How strong was it? How close were you to the source?
And how unlucky are you?
And how unlucky
by the
are
way,
you? Right.
Alex, you fly to Rhode Island every week or 2, right?
Yeah, every 2 weeks.
An airplane flight from New York to LA, 40 nanosieverts. So is that microsieverts?
I'm essentially just microwaved by this point.
You've been fried, my friend.
I just rewatched Chernobyl in the last couple of
days.
Isn't
that a great show?
One's fantastic, but also I watched it because when I knew how it ended, I wanted to go back and kind of re-see how things were done. And yet, it wasn't like all of Europe died. They were worried about that at the beginning. I'd forgotten how terrifying the.
I feel like maybe
there
this
were
was just a TV
there were
show.
Welsh farmers who couldn't sell their sheep.
No,
for
there
over
are people
decades.
living in the exclusion zone right now.
Yeah.
There are communities who have moved back into the
You
exclusion
can get
zone.
vodka from the exclusion zone.
You see, I interviewed one of the last testers at Los Alamos who he managed the last hydrogen bomb test, and he was this cheerful old man in his 90s, and he was convinced that radiation counts were meaningless because he'd been around the stuff his entire life. He'd worked with people who'd run, and he's just like, it's a lot more about where it hits you, why it hits you, and how, and as you say, how unlucky you are.
Would you say it's safe not to worry about the proximity of cell towers or even 5G cell towers?
I wouldn't want to give someone that assurance because
we can't prove the negative.
Precisely.
No, I'd like to see some peer-reviewed research. I mean,
there's been a lot of research. People often say cell phones are dangerous. And if it were true that the radiation from cell phones causes cancer, you would expect, at least one of the things you'd expect over the last 20 or 30 years is an increase in particularly brain cancers.
Except, Leo, that's not where people keep their phones.
Where do you keep your phone? In your pocket. Well, has there been more hip cancer?
No, but there has been a decrease in sperm motility in developed worlds.
I just talked to a startup.
I think there's other reasons for that.
I just talked to a startup called Legacy at Y Combinator's demo day.
CF, our earlier conversation.
I'm curious as to where you're going with this. It's just like, how hands-on was this demonstration?
Whoa! pipe down. I talked to a startup called Legacy at YC's demo day on Monday, and they are doing sperm freezing for men, essentially. But
naturally.
What we were talking about was they were advocating that I wear these special underwear that are designed to protect your bits from radiation.
They're lined with silver.
And I went, well, maybe, I don't know.
No, they wanted to advertise with it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Anyways, I just listened and I was like, and I was, nah. Like, it didn't seem to be a big enough threat. So my opinion to your question about should we worry about this is no.
No.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's been a drop in brain cancers over the last 30 years. Yep. So I think you would see it's not like this is a new technology. We would see this by now. This cell phone radiation is a lot closer to you than a cell tower 40 feet away or 400 feet away. And there is apparently no greater danger from millimeter wave than there would be because none of it's ionizing.
I mean, you
It's
had
low
a
energy.
far greater chance of developing a cancer if you slept on top of one of those heating mats because they generated an enormous amount of EM.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh gosh, yes.
I'm a little worried because I sleep on a sleep tracker, which is a little paddle that you put under the mattress and it tells you all about your sleep patterns. I actually talked to somebody who said, there's a lot of EMF coming off of that. You might want to consider removing your sleep tracker paddle.